Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. If you've ever looked at your bank account and just felt frustrated by your own money habits, well, I want to start off by setting a completely different tone for us today. Just take a deep breath. Seriously. There is absolutely no judgment here, and there's no such thing as too late when we're talking about this stuff. Today, we're exploring this fascinating psychological framework called the mental break. It really digs into the deep, kind of hidden relationship we have with our money. And I want you to feel entirely safe as we unpack this together, because what we're going to learn, it's incredibly liberating.
So I want to pose this central, honestly deeply frustrating question directly to you. Why do highly intelligent, super capable people repeatedly lose money or make choices they literally instantly regret? It's this silent anxiety so many of us carry, right? Like, you might know exactly how to read a balance sheet, you might absolutely crush it at your career, but then somehow your bank account doesn't really reflect how capable you are. Well, if you've ever felt a quiet sort of shame about this, I need you to know you are definitely not alone.
Actually, I want to read this really powerful affirmation straight from our source material. Listen to this. You are not weak. You are not dumb. You are not irresponsible. The simple fact that you're engaging with this explainer right now, it means you're tired of getting hurt financially and you want to truly understand what's happening beneath the surface. And acknowledging that is an act of real courage. Because, we absolutely have to completely destigmatize financial struggle before we can even begin to fix it.
Let's dive into Section 1. The problem isn't you. Uncovering the hidden mechanics of financial failure.
Decades of research in behavioral psychology and neuroscience have revealed something that kind of goes completely against common sense. Intelligent people don't lose money because they lack information. We live in an era of infinite financial advice. They actually lose money because of an excess of unprocessed emotions. It's why someone might, say, perfectly balance a massive corporate budget all day long and then impulsively max out a credit card at night, or panic sell all their investments during a temporary market dip. The brain actually sabotages our financial decisions based on patterns we inherited without even realizing it. So the problem isn't your math skills, it's your emotional processing.
Which brings us to Section 2, Financial Intelligence versus Emotional Control.
Look at this stark contrast here between what you know and what you actually do. This is absolutely crucial to understand. On the left side, we have financial intelligence. This is your traditional finance stuff, compound interest, saving $50 a month, budget spreadsheets, and hey, those things definitely have value, but they're cold and logical. On the right side, we have emotional control. And this is the raw, highly volatile realm of dopamine, fear, shame, and maybe even childhood trauma. The really crucial point here is that if your emotional control is compromised, all the financial intelligence in the world won't stop you from making a destructive choice in a moment of stress. Traditional courses fail because they basically only teach the left side, completely ignoring those massive emotional drivers on the right.
And that brings us to a really uncomfortable truth. No spreadsheet in the world can save someone who hasn't understood why their brain sabotages their own decisions. Trying to fix an emotional problem with a mathematical tool, it's literally like trying to fix a leaky pipe with a calculator. It just doesn't work.
All right, Section 3, how the brain sabotages. Let's dig into this.
So how exactly does this hidden neurological sabotage actually happen? Well, the brain essentially tricks us into making terrible financial choices just to regulate our mood. For some people, it's placing a risky bet knowing they'll probably lose just to get that quick hit of dopamine and adrenaline. For others, it's buying things they'll immediately regret because the act of shopping acts as this temporary emotional anesthesia. Sometimes it's literally just our brain echoing negative phrases about money we heard repeatedly as kids. And incredibly, some people will acquire significant wealth and then subconsciously destroy it in a matter of weeks because of hidden guilt or this deep-seated belief that they just don't deserve it.
But here is the single most empowering thing you're going to learn today. Destructive financial behaviors are not character flaws. No, they are neurological and emotional responses. And because they're just responses, they can be understood, and even better, they can be modified. You're not broken, your wiring is literally just responding to old signals.
Moving on to Section 4, your emotional financial profile. Now, to structure all this information and figure out how your specific brain operates, you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. Almost everyone carries some sort of hidden financial weight. Maybe it's debts, profound regrets, or a financial secret you've never told anyone. That stays with you. But honestly, honest self-reflection is the only way to map out your personalized journey to finally taking control.
We can kind of break this down into 4 dominant emotional profiles. So, are you the gambler, where your true addiction isn't actually the money itself, it's the adrenaline and hope you get through the risk?
Or maybe you're the compulsive shopper, using consumption as an anesthesia to regulate stress and sadness. Perhaps you're the self-sabotager, trapped in inherited cycles of winning and losing that are driven by childhood beliefs. Or finally, the financial anxious. You might not have compulsive behaviors per se, but you live in constant tension, fear, and avoidance regarding your bank balance. Understanding which driver actually controls you is the real key to unlocking your mental break.
But keep this in mind, and I'll quote the source here. The profiles are not labels, they are maps. And the map is not the territory. You are a deeply complex human being, way more complex than any single category. These profiles are just starting points for your self-discovery. They're a way to give a name to the invisible forces acting on your wallet. So now that we know the problem and we've mapped the behavior, how do we actually start building real emotional control?
Let's look at Section 5, the pillars of change.
The very first piece of advice here is all about pacing. You absolutely cannot rush this. Don't try to binge fix your financial psychology. It's strongly advised to take it slow, just process a little bit at a time. Why? Well, because you're poking at deep-seated emotions that might have been buried for years. You really have to give your brain time to process, feel, and let those reflections actually settle before moving forward.
So, here are the 3 non-negotiable pillars to permanently break those negative cycles. Step 1 is utilizing an emotional diary. Seriously, even writing down just 1 sentence a day works. The psychological logic here is pretty brilliant. The physical act of writing creates this tiny gap of distance between feeling an emotion and taking a financial action. And that distance alone massively reduces impulsivity. Step 2, commit to the actual reflective exercises. Information just gives you the map, right? Doing the hard work of self-reflection is what makes you walk the path. And step 3 is community. Realizing that other highly intelligent people struggle with the exact same secretive behaviors, that is the fastest way to permanently dissolve shame.
Now, it's incredibly important to note this responsibly. This framework provides really powerful educational self-knowledge, but it absolutely does not replace professional psychological or psychiatric care. If you find yourself in an acute mental health crisis, please reach out to a specialized professional.
So, we arrive at the ultimate question. You now know that it isn't your intelligence that's failing you. It's unprocessed emotion that's holding you back. The mechanics of self-sabotage are no longer hidden. So, will you continue letting these invisible emotional drivers drain your bank account? Or are you ready to engage your mental brake and finally take the wheel? The choice and the map to get there is now yours.